My name is Vesper Maris, and I turned 28 that day. It was supposed to be a happy birthday, but it turned into one of the hardest days of my life. My brother's daughter, who is only 10 years old, grabbed my birthday cake and smashed it on the ground. "Eat it off the dirt," she yelled, laughing meanly. My mom, dad, and brother all laughed too. Their voices were loud, sharp, and cold, slicing through the quiet Fargo night. No one said sorry. I just stared at the cake. The icing was melting into the dirt, and my chest felt tight, like it always did when they treated me this way. I didn't say a word. I turned around, walked to my car, and drove back to my apartment. The sound of the car engine made their laughter disappear, but not the feeling in my heart. But before I continue, hit the subscribe button and tell me where are you watching this from, and what time of day is it? A few hours later, my phone lit up. It was a message from my dad. "Don't ever show your face here again." Before I could think about it, my brother's name popped up, and he had liked the message. I sat on my couch, staring at the words, feeling my heart burn. They thought they could ignore me, erase me, and pretend I didn't exist. I typed a reply with my fingers shaking, but my words were calm. "You'll see what you lose without me." I pressed send, my heart pounding, knowing that my words would shake everything. That night, my phone buzzed and buzzed. Messages and calls came from my family group chat, and I didn't answer any of them. I let the storm happen, knowing I had started it. The yard at the party was bright under Fargo's starry night. My birthday party had tables on the lawn, covered in cloth, with lanterns hanging above, glowing softly in the dark. My mom was standing at the head of the table, talking loudly about my brother's new business. His daughter sat in a chair, soaking up all the attention, smiling and smirking. My dad leaned back, quiet, looking at the fields like the party didn't matter to him at all. The air didn't feel happy. It felt heavy, like everyone was putting on a show. I moved through the crowd, carrying plates and refilling drinks, trying to look cheerful, but no one noticed me. My mom laughed, praising my brother and his little shop, barely looking my way. His daughter saw me and made a mean face. "You're just the bank account Mom asked you to hold," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Some guests laughed. My mom smiled even bigger. My dad didn't say anything. Her words hurt, but I had heard words like that before. When I was growing up, I helped my brother with his homework while he played video games. I gave my babysitting money to my mom for family bills, and she bought him new shoes. When I was 16, I worked on weekends to pay for groceries, while my mom called him the dreamer. I thought I was supposed to help my family, to keep the peace. But standing there under the glowing lanterns, I saw things differently. That little girl's words weren't just mean, they were true. They didn't see me as part of the family. They only saw me as someone to use. I put down the tray I was carrying, keeping my hand steady even though my chest hurt. I tried to smile and focus on the party, cutting the cake. But her words kept echoing in my head, each one digging in, making me feel smaller and smaller. My mom kept praising my brother, like a wall between us. I looked at my dad, hoping he would notice me. He didn't. He just stared at the fields, far away, like he didn't care about me at all. Then his daughter grabbed the cake. She didn't just drop it. She threw it onto the ground. The frosting splashed everywhere. "Eat it off the dirt," she shouted, laughing meanly. My mom clapped her hands, happy. My brother laughed too, smugly. My dad stayed silent, and his quietness was louder than anyone's laughter. The guests looked around. Some laughed. Some looked away, not wanting to be part of it. I stared at the ruined cake, and something inside me changed. This wasn't the first time they had treated me like I didn't matter, but it would be the last. I had spent years thinking I owed them my time, my money, and my patience. I had been the one to make sure everything ran smoothly for them. But now, under the flickering lanterns, I understood. I wasn't their daughter or sister. I was their tool, their convenience. I didn't yell or cry. I picked up my purse, moving calmly and carefully. My mom's voice faltered, but she didn't say anything. My brother stopped laughing and narrowed his eyes as I walked past. His daughter's smirk shook a little, but she stayed quiet. My dad didn't move, and his stillness told me everything I needed to know. I got in my car, slammed the door, and drove away. The lights of Fargo's countryside disappeared behind me. The road stretched ahead, empty fields on both sides, swallowing the noise of the party. My hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, not from anger, but from understanding. I had been invisible to them, but I wouldn't be anymore. When I got to my apartment, I shut the door. The silence felt heavy after the chaos of the party. My phone buzzed. A message from my dad said, "Don't ever show your face here again." Before I could think, my brother's name appeared, and he had liked the message. A silent jab. Their words burned into me, but I didn't answer. Not yet. I sat on the couch, feeling the weight of their rejection pressing down on me. But something else started to grow inside me. A need to understand why they thought they could treat me this way. I opened my laptop and looked at our joint savings account. It was supposed to be for my parents' house and my brother's shop, a fund we all agreed to. I checked the transactions, looking at the dates. For 3 years, money had disappeared from the account without asking me. My name was on the account, but no one had ever asked me before. Memories flooded back. 2 summers ago, my brother had sat across from me at a diner. "It's an investment, Vespera," he had said, pushing his coffee aside. "The shop needs a boost. You're helping the family." His daughter sat beside him, smiling and excited. I trusted them and signed the papers, thinking we were all working together. But the account said something else. My money had been taken. No questions. No thank you. I leaned back. My mom's voice from years ago echoed in my mind. "You're the responsible one, Vespera. We count on you." I had worked overtime, paid their bills, and kept their lives stable. But now, looking at the empty account, I saw the truth. They hadn't counted on me. They had counted on my silence. The message from my dad wasn't just anger, it was entitlement. He thought he could banish me because I had always given in. My brother's thumbs up wasn't just cruelty. It was confidence that I would stay quiet and keep funding their lives. Even the little girl's words at the party, calling me their bank account, were true. I closed the laptop, my hands shaking, not from fear, but from determination. I wasn't their ATM anymore. I opened my email and found the bank's contact page. I wrote to Catherine Park, the banker who had handled our account before. "I need to remove my name from a joint savings account. Can we meet tomorrow?" I pressed send. The bank replied automatically, confirming an appointment the next morning. I started pacing in my small living room, my mind racing. I thought of all the nights I had spent balancing their money instead of chasing my own dreams, of all the weekends I had lost to their demands. I had given them my loyalty, my trust, and my money. And they had paid me back with mockery and a message to disappear. But I wouldn't disappear. I would draw a line not just for tonight, but for good. I remembered all the times I had sacrificed myself for them. At night I stayed awake doing my brother's homework while he played games. Money I gave for groceries and bills while they bought him gifts. Hours I spent working extra jobs to pay for things they couldn't afford. And all those years they never thanked me. They never even noticed. It was always about them. Their happiness. Their comfort. Their success. And now I finally saw it. I wasn't a daughter. I wasn't a sister. I was their tool. A tool to be used and thrown away. I took a deep breath and felt a strange kind of calm. I wasn't going to let them use me anymore. I wasn't going to let them make me feel small. I wasn't going to let them erase me. I was Vespera Maris. I had my own life. My own dreams. My own money. And I was going to protect them all. That night, I sat on my couch, thinking about the cake on the ground, about their laughter, about their messages. And I decided that from now on, I would be my own person. I would set boundaries. I would take care of myself first. And maybe one day, they would understand what they had lost. My phone buzzed again. Another message from my dad, but I didn't open it. I didn't need to. Their words couldn't change the truth I had learned from the money in our accounts. I wasn't their daughter or their sister in the ways that really mattered. I was only there to help them with their money, and I was done helping them. I sat back in my chair and felt calm but firm. The decision I had made was heavy, but it felt right. Removing my name from the bank account wasn't just about money. It was about taking back control of my life. I was tired of feeling like I had to do everything for them. The next morning, the sun rose over Fargo, bright and clear. I stepped outside, feeling the cool morning air on my face. It was crisp and refreshing, like the start of something new. I walked into the bank with a folder of papers under my arm. The weight of my choice made me feel strong and steady. Catherine Park, the bank worker, smiled at me. Her smile was friendly but professional, like she wanted to make sure I felt comfortable while doing something serious. I handed her my ID, the papers for the account, and printouts showing all the money in the joint savings account. She nodded and typed on her computer. "This shouldn't take long," she said, her voice calm. My phone buzzed in my pocket, but I ignored it. I had silenced notifications because I knew my family would be upset after my email to the bank. I didn't want to be distracted. Catherine looked at my papers carefully, her brow furrowed as she checked everything. My phone buzzed again, louder this time. I peeked at it. My dad's name flashed on the screen over and over. I could feel the anger in his calls, even though I didn't answer. I put the phone down and focused on the bank questions. Before Catherine could continue, my phone rang very loudly. She looked at me and asked, "Do you need to answer that?" I shook my head. The calls didn't stop. My dad's voicemail popped up. His voice was loud and harsh. "Stop this nonsense, Vespera. You're hurting us." I took a deep breath and kept my face calm. I didn't want him to see me shake or get scared. Catherine explained that because this was an important change, she needed to make sure there would be no problems later. I slid the transaction papers across the desk, showing the money my family had taken without asking me. I told her my name was on the account, but I had never agreed to these withdrawals. I also gave her a letter I had written saying I wanted my name removed. Catherine read the papers slowly, then nodded. She started typing again, moving the process forward. My phone buzzed with texts now, not just from my dad but from my mom too. Her words hurt. "You're selfish, Vespera, after everything we did for you." I gripped the edge of the chair, the words stinging, but I didn't let them change me. I had spent years thinking I owed them everything. But the truth was clear in those money withdrawals. I wasn't going to stay quiet. Catherine printed the final forms. I signed each page, my hand steady. My dad called again, the ringing sound cutting through the quiet office. I muted the phone. Catherine double-checked everything. "Your name is officially removed from the account," she said. I felt a big weight lift off my shoulders. Even though my family would still be angry, I felt free. I left the bank. The morning air felt cold on my skin but also fresh, like a new beginning. Back at work, I dove into my spreadsheets, counting numbers and checking balances. The familiar rhythm of my job calmed me. But my phone kept buzzing. My mom's angry words, my brother's quiet silence, my dad's calls. Each one reminded me of the storm I had started. I felt it pressing on me, but I tried to focus on work. During a break, I went to the break room and saw my friend Althea. She had been my co-worker for years, always kind and cheerful, always ready with a laugh or a smile. I hesitated for a moment, unsure if I should tell her what had happened. But I did. I told her about the bank, the calls, and the texts. I told her how my family called me selfish. "I cut myself off from their account," I said softly, my voice low. "They're furious." Althea listened carefully. Her eyes were steady, and she didn't judge me. "You did what you had to," she said firmly. "They can't use you and then make you feel guilty for standing up." Her words felt like a lifeline. I had been ready for her to judge me, but she understood. We talked for a while. She told me stories about setting boundaries with her own family, about how she had learned to protect herself from unfair demands. Her words made the tight knot in my chest loosen. "They'll push back hard," she said. "But you are stronger than their anger." I nodded. I felt lighter, like a weight had been lifted. Even though the texts on my phone kept coming, Althea's support made me feel protected. Back at my desk, I checked my email. I expected more mean messages, but instead, I found a confirmation from the bank. My name was officially removed. I saved it on my computer, labeling it carefully. It was a quiet little victory. I felt relief, but I also knew my family's angry words would still come. I thought about Althea's words, about her belief in me. For the first time, I felt like I could handle this. I could not just survive, I could take control. A few days later, my doorbell rang loudly, breaking the quiet in my apartment. I froze, coffee halfway to my lips. The intercom screen lit up. It was my dad, my brother, and my brother's daughter. Their faces looked angry. I didn't let them in. I pressed the record button on the intercom, staying calm. I knew this wouldn't end nicely. My dad shouted through the speaker. "Open the door, Vespera. You think you can just walk away?" He pounded on the door. My brother moved closer, his eyes narrow. "You're going to regret this," he said quietly but meanly. His daughter stood behind them, arms crossed, half hiding. I couldn't tell what she was thinking, and I didn't care. I stayed quiet, my heart beating fast, but I felt strong. The intercom kept recording everything. My dad's shouting got louder, my brother's words sharper. "You owe us," my dad yelled. "You betray us." I picked up my phone and called 911. My voice was calm. "There's a disturbance at my apartment. They are threatening me." The dispatcher said help was on the way. I kept recording the intercom, letting their voices fill the room. Minutes later, red and blue lights flashed outside. 2 police officers came to the door. "Step back from the door," one said firmly. My dad hesitated, but didn't move at first. My brother swore quietly under his breath and pulled his daughter back, like he was protecting her from the police. The officers repeated themselves, firm and serious. Slowly, my dad stepped back, his fists relaxing, his face red. I opened the door a little, staying behind the chain lock. "They've been threatening me," I told the officers calmly. I showed them the intercom video. The first officer looked serious. "This is private property. You are not welcome here. Leave now." My dad sputtered, "She's my daughter." The officer cut him off. "That doesn't give you the right to harass her. Leave, or we will escort you out." My brother looked at me, jaw tight, but didn't speak. His daughter stayed behind, looking at me again. She mumbled softly, "I didn't mean it." I said nothing. Words couldn't undo what had happened. The officers stayed firm, and my family left. I closed the door and locked it. The quiet returned. I saved the intercom video on my laptop, labeling it with the date. It was a safeguard in case they tried something again. I sat on my couch, thinking about what had happened. I didn't focus on their shouting or threats. I thought about what it all meant. They hadn't come to apologize or fix things. They had come to demand money and control me. My dad's anger, my brother's threats, even his daughter's quiet regret, none of it was about love. It was about money. They wanted me for the account I had left, the safety net I refused to be. I had spent years thinking our family bond was real, even if it had problems. But now, watching them outside my door, I saw the truth. They cared about my money, not about me. It was a heavy thought, but it also made me feel free. I had drawn a line at the bank, and now, in my apartment, I saw that line was real. I had taken control of my life. I had protected myself. And for the first time, I felt like I could breathe. The video wasn't just proof. It was a way to show me where to stop. I had drawn a line between me and all the chaos they brought into my life. I didn't feel happy in a mean way, but I felt strong. Not strong over them, but strong over myself. They could yell, threaten, or beg, but they couldn't cross that line. I had made sure of it. It was my wall, my safe space. Weeks passed quietly. Then my phone buzzed again. I was in my apartment in Fargo, sitting on the couch and looking through my emails. Suddenly, a notification popped up from Instagram. My brother had posted a photo of our family at a picnic. Everyone was smiling under a bright blue sky. At first, I smiled a little too. Then I read the caption. It hit me like a punch to the stomach. The caption said something like, "Some people choose to destroy their family. We are stronger without them." My name wasn't written there, but I knew it was about me. My stomach tightened, and I felt the hurt all over again. I clicked on the post to see the comments. My cousins, neighbors, even people I barely knew had written their thoughts. "What a shame," one person wrote. "Family comes first," said another. It was all sharp and public, pointing at me. The post spread fast. Likes and shares piled up. Every single one reminded me how far my brother would go to make me look like the villain. I wanted to type back something mean. I wanted to defend myself. But I knew that would only make things worse. If I reacted online, it would just fuel his story about me. So instead, I opened my email and started typing a message to my co-workers at the accounting firm. I kept it short and professional. I wrote, "You may have seen a misleading post on social media about me. I've stepped back from family money matters to focus on my job. Thank you for your support." I read it again and hit send. My heart stayed steady. Gossip might reach my office, but I trusted that my reputation would stay strong. The next morning, the bank sent me an email. The subject line said, "Final confirmation of account responsibility release." I opened it slowly and read the formal words. The bank had officially released me from the joint savings account. My money was safe. I had done it. I saved this email along with the intercom video from a few weeks ago. Each file was like a brick in the wall I had built around myself, a wall that kept my life safe. I buried myself in work. I sorted client files, checked numbers, and tried to focus. The spreadsheets kept my mind busy and helped me forget the sting of my brother's Instagram post. One day, during a team meeting, my boss, Odalise, called me into her office. Her office was impressive. Awards lined the walls, shiny and serious. She looked at me carefully. "I saw your email," she said. Her voice was calm but direct. "You handled that really well. Not many people could stay composed under that kind of pressure." I nodded, expecting maybe just a small smile or a pat on the back. But she leaned forward. "We're thinking about promoting you to senior accountant," she said. "Your work has been amazing, and this shows you can handle pressure. Think about it." Her words surprised me. A spark of pride lit inside me. A promotion wasn't just a bigger paycheck. It was proof that I had built something for myself, not for my family. I thanked her, my voice steady. Inside, I felt a surge of confidence, like a door opening to the life I had put on hold for so long. Back at my desk, I went through spreadsheets with sharper focus than before. The sting from the Instagram post was fading as I thought about my promotion. But that evening, when I was alone in my apartment, I made a mistake. I checked my brother's Instagram again. There was a new photo. His daughter was at a school event, smiling widely. Her hair was tied back with a ribbon, and she looked so happy. The caption said something like, "Proud dad moment." I stared at her face. A flicker of doubt crept into my heart. She had stayed silent when they came to my door. I remembered her small voice saying, "I didn't mean it." Maybe she had been caught in my brother's anger. Maybe she was too young to know what to do. The thought made my chest tighten. I closed the app and sat quietly. I felt proud of the boundaries I had set, the career I was building, and the life I was reclaiming. But seeing her face stirred something inside me, a longing for what family could have been, not what it was. I didn't regret my choices, but I mourned the little girl who might still see me as the enemy. I turned off my phone. I let the quiet fill my apartment. Confidence didn't erase every ache, but it helped. Months passed, and the chaos slowly faded. I was at my desk in Fargo, sorting through client reports when I noticed something. My brother's Instagram post, the one with the mean caption about me, was gone. The photo of our family had vanished without a word. I didn't know why. Maybe the bank's confirmation had forced him to delete it. But I didn't care. Its absence alone felt like a small victory. 6 months later, my phone buzzed again. It was a message from my brother. It said, "I'm sorry, Vespera. I went too far." I read it twice. The words felt heavy but empty, like echoes in a room I no longer needed to enter. I pressed delete, my fingers steady. I felt a rush of freedom. Not from his apology, but from choosing to let it go. I didn't owe him a response, just like I didn't owe him my life. At the accounting firm, things were changing. Odalise called me into her office again. Her desk was piled with papers and files, but her expression was warm. "You're taking the senior accountant role," she said. "Your work has been excellent. You've proven you can handle more than just numbers." I nodded, a quiet pride swelling inside me. This promotion wasn't just a title. It was proof I had built something solid, something mine. I thanked her with careful words. Inside, I felt a new kind of strength, one rooted in my own work and merit. Back at my cubicle, Althea stopped by. She carried 2 coffee cups and handed me one. "I heard about the promotion," she said with a grin. "You're doing amazing." She sat down in the chair next to me. We talked not about family or drama, but about small things. Weekend plans, a new bakery in town, little adventures. Her laughter was light and easy. It reminded me that life wasn't just about surviving. It was about moments like this, friendship, joy, and connection. I sipped my coffee. Its warmth spread through me. I realized I was smiling truly for the first time in years. I had also started taking yoga classes at a studio near my apartment. Each stretch, each breath grounded me. Fargo's wide skies, once heavy with memories, now felt lighter, like an invitation. I was living for myself, not for promises I never made. Through a friend, I heard that my brother's shop was struggling. Its shelves were half empty, and bills were piling up. My parents had taken out loans, using their names to cover debts I had once helped with. I felt no guilt, only a distant ache, like hearing news about strangers. They hadn't reached out, and I hadn't expected them to. The silence between us was a choice, mine as much as theirs. A year later, I sat with Althea in a cozy Fargo cafe. The hum of conversation blended with the clink of cups. She sipped her latte, her eyes bright. She asked about my weekend, and I found myself talking about something deeper than plans. "Setting boundaries isn't selfish," I said. "It's saving yourself." Althea nodded, her smile soft. I felt the weight of the past year settle into clarity. Bits of news about my family trickled in through whispers from old acquaintances. My brother had lost his shop. My parents had sold their land to cover the mortgage. I didn't reach out, and they didn't either. The silence was no longer a wound. It was a choice to protect my peace. My life had taken root in ways I didn't expect. At the accounting firm, I thrived as a senior accountant. My desk was now in a corner office with a view of Fargo's skyline. My work was trusted. The respect I earned felt like a foundation I had built brick by brick. Althea and I grew closer. Our coffee breaks became a ritual of laughter and shared stories. Other friends filled my evenings with dinners and movie nights. It was a new kind of family, one I chose, not one I owed. Yoga became part of me. Each stretch, and each breath reminded me of the space I had carved out for myself. Fargo's open fields, once heavy with memories of family gatherings, became my refuge. I drove past them on weekends. The golden waves of grass stretched under wide skies. I felt a quiet joy. This was my home, not because of where I had come from, but because of who I had become. The ghosts of my family no longer haunted me. I didn't check my brother's social media or wonder what my parents would do next. Their struggles were theirs to bear. I had spent years thinking love meant carrying their weight. I learned that real love meant choosing myself first. That lesson, though hard, was now my anchor. Sitting with Althea in the cafe, I glanced out the window. The fields stretched beyond the glass. For the first time, they didn't remind me of them. They were just fields, vast and free, like the life I had built for myself. I turned back to Althea. Her laughter pulled me into the moment. I felt a truth settle in my bones. I was enough. This journey hadn't been about revenge or proving them wrong. It was about understanding that my worth wasn't tied to their demands. I had walked away from the savings account, threats at my door, and words that cut deep. And I had found something stronger, myself. To anyone listening, I would say this. Boundaries aren't walls to keep others out. They are doors to let your own light in. Mine led me to a life I love. They led me to a freedom I never knew I could claim. And most importantly, they led me to peace, happiness, and a family I had chosen for myself, filled with people who cared and made me feel alive.